just want to do a little outfit tour before I go and do stuff. I'm gonna go to the beauty supply, Trader Joe's, and then I'm gonna get myself some Vietnamese coffee. So let's do a little outfit tour. Nails. We got the necklaces, homemade rosary that I made with this beautiful labradorite bullhead or moonstone. I forget, is this moonstone or labradorite? This is moonstone. Little moonstone bull. Cause I'm a Taurus. Then we got handmade waist beads by me. Handmade anklets by me. Oh, you can't even see it. And yeah, that's the outfit. That's what we're gonna go do. And it's just gonna be a chill day, nothing crazy. Good morning, everybody. Let's go start my wonderful life. I think I have figured out now why Trader Joe's, the traffic inside of a Trader Joe's, and I'm talking strictly like people with their carts and shit, because you know the whole gag is that like people just don't know what the they're doing when they're walking around. I think the issue is that their aisles are just about enough room for 3 carts, like 3 lanes of traffic essentially, but like not quite, where it's like there could be hypothetically room for 3, so it gives people more flexibility to just like weave around the people who are on either side of the aisles, again going in both totally different directions. Like today was probably the most chaotic. Like I usually when I go, it's really not that bad. Thank you. Right, like usually when I go, I always go in the middle of the day, like about this time, right? Because there's usually less people. It's a Monday, right? I don't know why the fuck it was so busy today, dude. This is why I usually do my errands on Tuesdays, like Wednesdays or Thursdays or something. But I think I figured out why Trader Joe's has such bad cart traffic. It's because their aisles are like just barely big enough for 3 carts, and therefore it like encourages not 2-lane traffic, but like 2.5. And because of that shit, bro, dude, today was I'm not even kidding when I say that this shit was the worst. It's like, I don't know, on most days when I go, like people for the most part, you know, will like stick to the edges, right? Like only use the middle lane if they're, what's it called? Only using the middle lane, like if you're passing, right? Kind of like a left lane, passing lane on a highway or whatever, a freeway. No, dude, today everybody was parking crooked in the middle of the aisle, like no flow of traffic, nothing. And you, like, their aisles are for real, like always a cart and a half big, right? Like it's either a 2.5 lane sized aisle or like a 1.5 or 1.25. So again, it's like there's kind of some wiggle room for, you know, potentially 2 carts or potentially 3. And I don't know, maybe like you're giving the customer a little too much flexibility. Because holy fuck, bro, like when I tell you, there was at least 3 or 4 times where I was being like trapped. Like I'm talking, and look, I'm not necessarily saying demographics has anything to do with it, but this was the first time I had seen, quite frankly, so many white people in this Trader Joe's. And again, not that I necessarily think it means anything always, you know, but there's patterns. But like when I tell you, I would pull up in an aisle and then some, you know, old woman will pull her cart right up to mine, like facing mine. So literally like blocking me forward, which I'm like, okay, fine, I can go around, I don't really care. And then some other white dude pulls his cart next to mine, literally they're literally blocking me in by the fucking tomatoes, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, really? We didn't think like, oh, let me, because okay, look, this is my frame of mind when I'm grocery shopping at any store, but especially Trader Joe's, is either park somewhere close to the edge, right? Clearing as much space as you can for whatever's gonna, you know, whoever wants to pass. And if you're going to be in a crowded aisle, like I don't know, again, this is just me. Maybe it's my Virgo rising where I'm going to be analytical as whatever. But again, if I'm going to park my car or at least navigate around somewhere, I try to be mindful of the fact that like other people might want to, at a moment's notice, move their carts. So I'm not going to trap them in to a dead end in the tomato aisle when there's more than plenty enough room for all of y'all to move a little bit over so I can... What are we doing? And it was only, and this is the only reason why I was bringing up the demographic part, it was literally only people that were doing that. Everybody else was relatively trying to be as considerate of, again, just how chaotic it is. Trying to, like, find the flow of traffic. Because, you know, the traffic direction changes, like, every 5 seconds in an aisle. You know. Bro, you telling me I have my blinker on? Oops. What are we doing, you guys? Like, literally, the first time that I got, like, trapped in an aisle with at least 2 carts worth of space, if not 2 1/4, you know. Why would you block somebody in? What are we doing? Like, the old white lady at first, okay, fine, whatever, I can still get out. But then this white dude, what do you do? Can you not see? And then he had the caucasity to look at me like I was crazy. Right, right. Okay, right. That was crazy. And then what else? Oh, I stopped at the beauty supply, got a couple of goodies. I'll show you my haul later. And then had to get my Vietnamese coffee. I already sucked that thing down. It's already gone. And now we're just driving home. It's so freaking beautiful out today. It's like 84 right now. I don't think it's actually that hot. My car's probably reading hotter, but it's like there's like a nice cool breeze. You know what I mean? We got the gasoline on the side, you know. Might need to change my brakes. She a little squeaky on one side. I feel like I just got them done though before I like moved out. Well, I guess that was like 2-something years ago. You know, I'm probably just due to change my brakes. Alright, good day, y'all. I'm bored, and those sandals that I bought, I want to bedazzle them. So we're gonna start with this pair first, and I already started just a little bit, but it was inspired by the particular colorway of the like sequins, and I have bedazzle pieces that are like kind of like the same almost iridescent purple color. So we're gonna do, and I put like a little seashell because I just have a bunch of like nail art stuff. So I'm gonna do the whole, I'm thinking I'm gonna do the whole border, and we'll just go from there and kind of see what if I, you know, whatever. And I'm gonna be talking, or I guess. I ran out of B7000, like bedazzle glue or whatever, so we're just gonna do super glue because that's just what I have, and I don't want to leave the house. Okay, for my astrology people, the freaking transits that have been going on right now have been having me crying my freaking eyes out nonstop. Like almost every I almost was like confused. I'm like, am I, and there's no shade of cancers, but I'm like, am I a cancer or something and I don't know about it? I don't have any cancer I don't have any cancer placements, but like for real, this whole week, like at least like 4, maybe even 5 days in a row, I have just been freaking sobbing. And it's all just like definitely me healing, or you know, whatever. Like, okay, so for example, I've been in contemplation and reflection about got our morning tea so we can take a doo-doo. But I've been crying for like 4 or 5 days straight. And it's just like a lot of like personal reflection on my childhood especially, and kind of just like recognizing like how much neglect I've dealt with growing up. And I'm not gonna go too into the details because again, I like to keep personal, you know, personal and private. But I still think that, you know, I can share a little bit of the sentiment here. But I've been crying like all week, again, in relation to coming to terms with recognizing how neglected I was as a child and a young adult and blah, blah, blah. And reflecting on like past relationships, be it with just friends, partner, blase, blase. And you know, kind of just like finally processing and experiencing like how hurt I was then. Now, for me personally, like I love a good cry. Nowadays, like if I'm ever like kind of working through something or like reflecting on something to like understand myself or understand the context from a different perspective, and I end up like, you know, crying about it because it's just like, oh my God, like I never had the chance to like realize that I was so upset about blah, blah, blah. And I am now feeling those feelings. And I'll be like in the midst of like having like the realization as I'm like talking myself through it. And as I like then begin to start crying and feeling the feelings, I'll have like a moment of, I don't know, I would even kind of describe it as like euphoria a little bit, where I'll be like, again, in the midst of like, I'm talking like crying so hard, the type of you see in movies, just like, like waterfalls coming out of my eyes. And in the midst of it, I can't help but have like a profound appreciation for being able to have the experience of not having been hurt, because like, I don't want to be hurt, but in one, being okay with the fact that like, you know, I did whatever it is that I could for myself then, you know, limited capacity, no standards, no principles to like understand my position then for, you know, again, whatever context. And, you know, of course, giving myself grace, because again, it's like we only know what we know at any given point. Like the capacity that we have for something is truly just limited to whatever experiences or knowledge that we have in that moment. And it doesn't, you know, one, it's not fair to yourself, I think, to hold yourself to such a high standard, or to hold yourself to the standards that you have today for something that you may not have had then. Because then it's like, okay, well, yeah, let's go ahead and just shame ourselves for just genuinely not knowing, you know, what signs to look for, or not having the personal standards to contrast with, you know, the experience or the context, to be able to discern that like this is something you don't want to do, or this is a way you don't want to be talked to or treated. I personally believe that people make choices that they believe to be within their best interest, regardless of obviously what anybody else thinks. Or oh, you want to go outside, Curly? Oh, hold on. Do you want to go outside because Maggie's out there? Oh no, you just have to actually go. All right, be quick, girly, because Mama's got to poo. Okay, but yeah, I think that we all make choices that are within, you know, the limitations of our capacities in that moment. Again, with your standards, your principles. To shame yourself or make yourself feel guilty now about something that you probably already felt shameful for then, or guilty about then, is not helpful. There's no point in doing that. Unless you just want to wallow in your own misery, I guess. Girl, you better not be eating no cat doo-doo. We're gonna have an issue, and I don't feel like brushing your teeth right now. And this is like a conversation too I'll have with a friend of mine, where we'll be, and for brief context before I like give an example, right? I'm not gonna share personal business, but I think something that I personally notice about people when talking about themselves or their past experiences. All right, back to our like cute little depressing conversation. The way that people talk about, I'm gonna bring it back to my friend, but again, we're not gonna share personal like stuff, right? I think something that a lot of people don't realize is that the way that we talk about ourselves very much is like us like the way and the way anybody talks, be it about themselves or other people, is people telling on themselves, right? Whether it's literally or not, you know, paying attention to the way people will describe themselves, or the way that, or even like the tense in which someone is speaking about themselves or their experiences can give you an indication of like, okay, well, what's the POV? Like, what's the literal timeline, point on the timeline in which this person is kind of speaking about themselves or to themselves. And, you know, I always have just truly the best conversations with my friend. You know who you are. And, you know, I'll often, and this very much could just be my annoying Virgo rising tendencies for sure, where I'm always pointing out these kind of like verbalized details in our conversation. And it's just coming from a place of like genuinely just wanting to understand his perspective, and like I'm not trying to be rude and like pry and tell him who he is, because that's just simply not the point. It really is just me trying to gain as much of an understanding of my friend as I can, because I care about my friend and I love him and I want to know more about him and understand him. To, again, that Virgo rising, it's the detail. Like, I want to know like every detail about this person because I love them so much. But when we're chatting and talking about stuff, I'll kind of, again, inquire with questions that are kind of along the lines of like, you know, kind of like, well, what do you mean by this? Because, you know, in my understanding of the position that you're asserting, you know, in talking about your past experiences, you know, it sounds like you're speaking as though you're the version of you from way back then now, when that's not who you are now. Not because you don't carry those elements into your life or into your new sense of self, but when we're talking about specifically like wanting to grow and evolve beyond that version of ourselves, and yet you still kind of speak from the position as though you're still that person that you were 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. That to me tells me that you still haven't, one, let go of that version of yourself, or you haven't let go of like those elements and characteristics of that version of yourself. But okay, quick little progress update. So we got the back of the cube with the little seashell. That's as far as we got. I wanna try and like do a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, just to make sure I have like, I'm pretty sure I'll have enough to do what I want to do, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And again, in reflection of how we talk about ourselves and how we tell on ourselves, and in reflecting on, or, you know, in learning from our past experiences so we can grow from them, learn from them, take something away from it. You know, again, I can tell when people are still kind of living in the reality of that version of themselves. And I don't say that like it's a bad thing, but just like, you know, if the point is to move on beyond this, you know, particular iteration of yourself, then that includes needing to, you know, change your vocabulary and to literally speak about yourself in the present, not as though, you know, you're still that person. And I would even say the same thing too for like anxiety, right? Like my current interpretation of anxiety, I don't really care what textbook definition is, right? I have my own interpretation because that's just the way that my world works. My understanding, and this is just in like, you know, again, just kind of recognizing the pattern of kind of how it works and how I see it work with other people. I don't have anxiety. I got rid of that problem years ago. I'm gonna see the point. Yeah. The pattern that I recognized was a lot of the times people, their perspective, like the position in which they're like, the tense, the part of the timeline that they're living in their head and not necessarily in reality, is as though they're already living in the future when the future never comes, right? If you're freaking out about how you think something is gonna happen, or you don't know if people are gonna like your outfit, like, and you're already assuming that whatever outfit it is you put on to go out to the club, that people are gonna be judging you. One, you're the only one judging yourself. Let's start there. You're also judging yourself through other people, and therefore also judging them because you're assuming that that person would even have such a bad opinion about you. Knock that off. It's honestly kind of rude. Because again, like, even though yes, you're only judging yourself, you're also judging that person and using that person as a means of projecting your own insecurities onto yourself. So knock that shit off. It's ridiculous. And Like, what are we doing? We gotta grow out of these insecurities. That's ridiculous. What was it? What was I talking about? I had to pause my recording because I forgot what I was talking about. Past experiences, anxiety, reflecting on the past and learning from it. Okay, so to try and encompass what I was saying earlier, because I kind of lost track of my train of thought a little bit, was that, and then I immediately forgot already what I was going to talk about. Right. Oh, okay, so the point of what I was talking about this whole time was, like, grieving the past and enjoying crying about it. So I'm gonna try and bring this back to whatever we were talking about. But, right, so people tell on themselves without realizing that they're telling on themselves, and at least for me, I can tell. You know, again, give us a lot of insight about the individual, but also into ourselves and the qualities that we may have within ourselves that we don't recognize. Actually, what the was I talking about? Okay, I remembered what I was talking about. So we started with crying, mourning the past, right? And I was bringing up my friend because in my own reflection of myself and in my experiences, right, like, because the relationships and interactions that we have with other people is, to an extent, a reflection of ourselves, and the people that you decide to keep around in your life and whatnot too, right? Again, a reflection of yourself, what your standards are, what your principles are. And in reflecting on myself, you know, be it on my own time or in the midst of these, you know, wonderful conversations that I have with my friend, and even just reflecting too on like other relationships that I have with people who have really invoked a profound sense of like new understanding of myself and my other past experiences, where I'm like, damn, like I was super like insanely neglected as a kid. Like I didn't learn, quite frankly, anything from my parents except how to not be like them, because they were just not people that I ever wanted to be like, if I'm being completely honest. They just didn't reflect the qualities or characteristics of people that I would ever want to adapt for myself. Whether that just be like I just didn't respect it, or I just, you know, with what little principles I had at the time, I just really didn't like, why would I want to do that? And then of course, when that's all you're around though, you still end up adapting those behaviors no matter how much like you don't want to. And it's obviously like case to case, right? Like it's not for everybody. But, you know, understandably, when and if those are the only people that you're around, those are the only people that you have as an example to emulate off of, right? Because the relationships that we have with the people around us, I think obviously are so important, especially because if you're having relationships with people who have characteristics or behaviors or whatever that you don't like, and you're around this person long enough, one, if not both of y'all, are going to at some point start to, in a sense, emulate and pick up on each other's, you know, habits, behaviors, beliefs, because the people we decide to keep in our lives are reflective of, again, what our standards and principles are, or what we stand for, if anything. And if the people that you decide to keep in your life are a bunch of horrible people, then at the very least, even if you don't necessarily do the things that they do, you are, by association, at the very least, tolerating the behavior. And, you know, with tolerance, you're not necessarily accountable for their actions, but you are accountable for continuing to keep somebody like that in your life, which is essentially you kind of giving the go-ahead that, like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with having a relationship with somebody who treats XYZ people like crap. Even if I don't do it. Yeah, but you're okay with being with somebody? Okay, right. In reflecting right on my past and recognizing like how neglected and just like uncared for I was, particularly like my 3 closest relationships that I have right now with people, again, I've learned so much about myself, and just in the way that they treat me with such kindness and love, that it gave me the perspective of recognizing like, damn, I really was
super neglected and super not loved by people, or at least in a manner that I currently, and even then, right, recognize that, like, damn, like, this doesn't really feel like what they say it's supposed to be, right? You say this is love, but this is not really, it sure don't feel like it, baby. It sure don't look like it. And, you know, it's given me such a perspective, again, of my experiences that I have had, then putting the experience, it puts into perspective, again, past experiences or relationships that I've had with people into a perspective where it's like, damn, like, okay, I can now see where my standards or principles were completely lacking, where I would tolerate XYZ behavior, or I would, you know, not recognize or have the capacity to see that I was being abused or neglected, etc., etc. And, you know, as I'm having my little crying moments with myself in the kitchen or whatever, or just laying in bed looking at the ceiling while I have a tea light just dimly lighting the room so it's really creating the atmosphere, right? It also honestly really reinforces how much love and appreciation I have for the people that are in my life, because they helped me see, not by any like action or choice of their own, like in contribution to even knowing these things. Like, these are things that like they don't even necessarily, like, not that they don't necessarily know, but like obviously they're not going to necessarily know like the fullest extent of my experience, just, you know, if it doesn't come up in conversation. But I feel like it all the more reinforces the profound appreciation that I have for these people that I choose to keep in my life, because it helped, because by them being themselves and by them, ooh, I'm getting choked up again. I can feel it in my throat. But by them just being themselves and loving me the way that they do and caring about me the way that they do, have they put into perspective for me that, you know, the beliefs that I had about myself when I was younger and neglected and not loved and blase, blase, blase were not like absolute truths, where like I, you know, like I really did, like for a long time as a kid, like believe that like I was just not lovable because people didn't treat me like, because they didn't treat me like what I thought love was supposed to be like, or even in my own definitely not that good definition of what I thought love was then. You know, even with that, it's just like, damn, like even with no standards or principles, like you don't even have the decency to treat me with like basic respect. And again, it just makes me all the more really appreciative of the fact that I have these people in my life, because they have given me the perspective of what it's like to be on like the other side of what I used to think was a permanent state of existence, which was one that didn't have love or didn't have consideration or didn't have intentionality, care. Did I already say that? Whatever. And for that, I am truly, truly so grateful. I'm actually surprised I didn't start crying, because every time I've talked about it with myself, I've just started like, you know. But I guess I got my tears out for now. Okay, so now we got both backsides done. Oh my god, I can't. Oh, this is gonna look so cute when I get it all the way around. Holy shit. Okay, we'll start with this one. But yeah, man, I've just been crying. But in the midst of all of my crying and whatnot, right? Again, it really is rooted in such a profound appreciation for the people that I do have in my life and the people that, you know, intentionally want me to be in their life and take action to, you know, ensure that they can continue to be in my life the way that I want to be in theirs as well. And not because like I expect these people to love me in a very specific way. I have my standards, I have my principles, I have my morals, And they just happen to be people who fit perfectly within those, you know, principles, standards, and morality of what it is I accept and tolerate as for the people that I do want to have in my life, right? Like, I'm not making my standards based off of these people. I'm making my like, when I tell you, like, my standards, I have like a new standard every week. There's a guy roaring like a dinosaur outside. Something. But yeah, like, these people, you know, they don't have to do the things that they do. They don't have to treat me the way that they do. But the fact that they choose to me, is a testament, again, of the love that they have for me. And they, you know, love and care for me in the way that they do. Whether that be by my guidance or just on their own volition. I personally don't even like to really tell people how to love me, if you will, because it's like, I want to see how it is that you do it, right? And not because, like, you know, somebody asked me, oh, like, what's a gift or something you'd like? Okay, I'll tell you. Give me some money. And for me, I say money always just because, well, maybe because I'm a Taurus Sun, Libra Moon, but because to me, money is just a means of accessibility to do the things that I want to do anyway. And if you're essentially granting me additional access or potential access to whatever it is I discern I want to, you know, use that shmoney on, then, you know, I can, like, money is always, I mean, again, I'm very anti-capitalism, let's be for real, but again, I'm not going to act as though I don't live within a world where society is majorly still thinking that we need to run on this bullshit. And until we decide to more collectively change our mind, like, you know, I'll still take action for the sake of, you know, living at that point, but not because principally I think, like, okay, side tangent. I think that if we really want to change the system, we need to stop coming up with solutions that are still so centered around the reinforcement of capitalism, you guys. Like, if we don't want to, like, if we hypothetically, let's say hypothetically everybody wants to live in a world where we don't use money and we just exchange goods, right? Like, there doesn't even need to be a barter system. It's just like, I have thing, you want it, okay, here you go, right? You know, and yes, people can trade, whatever. But when we keep trying to collectively come up with solutions that just reinforce capitalism instead of just helping, then again, we're just reinforcing the same system that we don't want to be a part of, right? And I'll come up with an example, right? And again, this is no, like, shade to people who are trying to do good things, but I just want to use it as sort of an example to kind of give perspective that, like, yeah, you see how we're just reinforcing it? So, for example, when, let's say, let's say, for example, somebody is down on hard times and let's say somebody's down on hard times and they come up with a GoFundMe or, you know, are reaching out to their community for assistance for blase, right? It doesn't really matter the details. And let's say that what people decide to do, and let's just say it's like very community focused, right? It's just within like the vicinity. So like there's people locally who want to help this person. Do you A, give them money, B, find ways to help them that don't require, like, what's stopping us from just like, okay, actually hold up. I'm thinking of, I don't want to misremember. I think it was Miss Shirley, that wonderful woman on TikTok who passed some time ago, who was, I think she had like a food truck and she was, you know, basically offering free food and general like goods and items and stuff for people who needed it, right? Homeless or not. And again, completely free of cost, right? People made donations to her so she could, you know, continue to afford to, you know, obtain the resources to help people. But I think that she's a really good example of like, helping your community that doesn't require money, because again, money's not real. The only thing that makes shit happen is human labor. Whoa, like what a foreign concept. Like, when has a dollar ever actually done anything? Sit with that question for a second. When has a dollar bill, when has a 2D pixel digit number in your bank account ever done something other than invoke the cashier to then allow you to walk out of the store with whatever items it is that you have walked in today because you need them? Nothing. It doesn't do anything. It's just a permission slip. That's really all it is. It's a permission slip to not punish you for needing to obtain goods that you want to have, right? Like, even like, okay, so I have another sort of example, right? Where I knew a student in a class, and I don't remember his name, which is fine, because, you know, and this isn't necessarily like, okay, actually, like, timing of this is pretty crazy with all the stuff that's going on right now, but, you know, this man, he was down on hard times and needed diapers for his baby, and he went to and he, you know, got put in jail for it. Over diapers. And then we have that situation just like a few days ago with that poor baby that was murdered over a suspected stealing of diapers. Okay, let's just point out the obvious racism here, okay? Because again, first of all, why would that be? First, let's just start here, first of all. The fact that these pigs clearly think that the only way to like, these people are obviously, they don't care about de-escalation. They don't. They really don't. They just want a means of power over people and are unfortunately majorly all freaking racist. And when you choose to be a slave catcher for a career, because let's call it what it is, you feel very justified and emboldened to delete a baby over some diapers, or to put a man in jail for 3 to 4 years for stealing diapers because he literally couldn't afford it. Instead of looking at the situation as this man needs to take care of his child and that requires him to obtain diapers. This woman, this mother needs to obtain diapers for her baby, and then her child passes on is like, if that's not proof enough that that demographic of individuals, these pigs, don't see other human beings as humans regardless of what they look like, how, like, you're either too dumb, to be honest, you're either too stupid to see something for exactly what it is, and or you're also a part of the problem and you're fine with it. Again, going back to that tolerance thing, and okay, look, see, like, we can bring all of, like, look, racism and capitalism, it all goes in together, right? And again, who, like, the fact that we are so convinced and still so brainwashed to believe that we need to have this make-believe means of permission, i.e. money, to do anything is insanity to me. It really is. It is Stockholm Syndrome 101. It is abuse being inflicted upon ourselves because we're reinforcing it at this point. Because think about it, hypothetically, if one day everybody woke up and was just like, yeah, no, like, forget this system, we're not doing it, we're gonna do our own thing, y'all have got to stop acting like the world is going to end and fall apart if we all of a sudden get rid of these systems. Because what we have going on right now is any better? Like, come on, you guys, really? Do you really think that as a species we are that incapable of being able to handle ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to build the things that we need to do? It's like they think that all of a sudden the integrity of human intelligence just disappears the second that the most unintelligent system all of a sudden dissipates. Like, that's a very unintelligent, like, I think, right? And again, it's not like, I'm not saying that to be like mean, but just like, it is kind of unintelligent to think that, like, oh, all of a sudden, like, the world is gonna end and, like, we are just too stupid as a species to do what we need to do. Like, we're acting like there aren't, you know, more educated people now than there were then. We're acting like we don't have access to things like the internet, which is just, you know, a fountain of youth, or not fountain of youth, but like a fountain of knowledge and information and connection, and a really great means and a way to connect as a community or communities, whatever, locally or globally, whatever. Well, not globally, you know, for my flat earthers out there. That, like, I don't know, I find it laughable that still so many people think that we are just too stupid to figure it out. And I'm just like, damn, what an insult to yourself to think that. Like, you really don't think that we're smart enough to figure this out on our own? Like, that just tells me about you. Because I personally believe that, yes, while there are very, very, very many unintelligent people, which again is not necessarily a fault of their own after a certain extent, because again, I'm aware of the systems that be that intentionally don't want us to be smart enough to do anything, to think that we can do anything about it. That's kind of the whole point of the patriarchy, you guys. They want us to be stupid. And they want you to be too dumb and too scared to do anything about it. And I think that a government is only helpful and useful to people who don't know how to think for themselves or don't want to think for themselves. Like, you're telling me you need an institution to tell you what to do and what you can and can't do because you can't figure it out on your own? Yeah, okay. Okay. Let's not discount our own ability to do things and to govern ourselves because we are indoctrinated to believe that we need to depend on unintelligent people to tell us what we can and can't do. Like, have we really not sat here and thought, wow, let me consider the character and the actual level of intelligence or principles of the people who are trying to tell you what to do? You really want a dummy to be your role model? Okay. All right. You really want these freaking people that are about to croak any minute to be your role model? They're not even gonna be here long enough for anything. Like, how does that make any sense? Oh wait, it doesn't. It doesn't! That's the point. And they have trained you to believe that they somehow know more than you, that they somehow know, like, if y'all haven't figured it out already, it's all a stage, it's all fake, it's all make-believe, money's make-believe, it's all make-believe. And it's like, well, if they can use their imagination to convince us that we don't have one of our own, what makes you think that we can't use ours to do the opposite? To do literally anything else other than what we're doing? This is a personal pet peeve. And not necessarily a judgment, but just a personal, just like, oh my God. It definitely makes my ass itch when people want to reinforce how stupid they are. And I'm just like, oh, why do you want to be so dumb? Why? You don't want to think for yourself, but yet you want to behave and boast as if you know how to? You need a book to tell you how to conduct yourself and you don't even know how to read it? You don't even know how to, you don't have the reading comprehension and general, like, to actually understand what you're reading, but you want to then convince everybody else that they have to follow your playground rules? Like, think about how, like, kind of stupid we look as a society when it's like, we really are letting these losers, these definitely uneducated PDF file losers tell us what we can and can't do? Like, okay, all right. And I say the same thing for, like, voting too. Like, why would I want to continue to participate in a system that's been bullshit from the get-go? Right. There's a reason that I don't vote, because again, why would I want to participate in the same system that just reinforces our own oppression? Why would I want approval from, like, think about it this way, y'all. When y'all are still participating in this stuff, you're basically begging, right? First of all, why are we begging? But you're basically begging your abusers to not abuse you when they had every intention of doing that from the get-go. clearly consistently demonstrate to you that they have no intention of changing that behavior, and yet you're still sitting here pining and begging for them to stop. Please, you're bullying me. I don't like it. And they're like, well, we don't really give a fuck. You're either gonna sit there and you're gonna sit there and take it because we've trained you to sit there and take it. And what have we been doing? Sitting here, taking it, inviting the vampires in, and then you're sitting here confused why the hell we're still in, why the system is still the way that it is. Because you're just reinforcing it. Stop participating in a system that you don't want to be a part of. It's really that simple. It really is. It literally is that simple. I don't really want to hear none of this. Oh, but this, and that. Again, it's all make-believe. You choose what to believe and what's true for you. And if you choose to believe that this system has power over you, then it does, because you believe that. And like, okay, that just tells me you're weak if you think something else has power over you, man. I don't know. Like, you really think that these PDF losers have power over you? Okay, I guess they do, because you said so. Hey, your words, not mine. Even she knows this bullshit. But yeah, we really gotta stop sitting here acting like these people are in charge of us. Like, these are nothing more than a couple of fucking losers. It's literally, this is basically the plot of Revenge of the Nerds, you guys. Which, in hindsight, that movie is so bad. Oh my god. I don't even, like, I own the movie on DVD, double-sided DVD. How many of y'all remember double-sided DVDs? But I own, Revenge of the Nerds 1 and 2 or whatever. And I used to, one of my friends, she can attest, like, we used to watch that movie all the fucking time. We loved that movie. I think mostly because it was just, like, again, to us then, it was just, like, fun and, like, obnoxious. But in hindsight, ooh, first of all, there's a lot of issues with that movie. Number two, it's pretty much giving the plot of, like, modern day society is literally Revenge of the Nerds. Except, unfortunately for our reality, these people actually aren't that smart at all. They just keep us so dumb that it makes them look smart. That's it. These people are actually really dumb. They are really, really... Oh my god, this is so cute. I knew this was going to be such a good idea. I'm not even done yet. Hold up. Oh, this is so cute so far. But yeah, trust me, you guys. These people are not nearly as intelligent as you give them credit for. They're actually very, very unintelligent. For anybody who wants to, give themselves a little perspective on, like, what I'm talking about, for real, watch the movie Revenge of the Nerds and tell me that that is not, like, a perfect parallel of, like, what's been going on with these losers that just say that they're in charge of us and that they know better than us. Like, I'm not even going to call these people leaders. I'm not going to call them anything that is just not true, because they're not leaders. They're just a bunch of insecure, predatory nerds who have no life of their own and think that, you know what, let me just steal everybody else's because I couldn't create a life of my own, because I have womb envy and I hate women because I hate that they can create life. And I can't, so I'm gonna steal it from everybody else. Like, ew, you're so pathetic. That's like, how can anybody look at these people and not, the first thing that you think of is, oh my god, really? This is who y'all chose to be your false deity? Okay. Like, whatever happened to shunning? Can we shun people again? Please, can we, is it excommunicate? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Can we start banishing people? I think we should start banishing people again. Like, they did my guy, Socrates dirty. Y'all could have just kicked him out if y'all were too dumb to understand what he had to say. Instead, y'all are like, no, you gotta die, brother. You couldn't even give him the decency of just, like, letting him go live his life somewhere else. Like, that's how you know these people are threatened. This is why education costs so much, because they don't want you to have easy access to the thing that's going to definitely, at least potentially, lead you down a means of obtaining information that would make you see reality for what it is and how stupid it is. Why would learning information have to cost anything other than your time and a little bit of energy? Why would it need to cost you resources to learn something? Right, because they want to gatekeep it. Right, money is just like a means of keeping people from, is pretty much just a means of gatekeeping. That's all it is. It's just a means of gatekeeping. It's just a means of control. It's just a means of make-believe, to make people think that they need to have, that is a means of, like, it's also kind of like a replacement for like a personal motive, or like a personal, like, because I'm thinking like some people who are very set on, you know, making all this money, and it's like, well, what for? Right? Like, sure, make money, but what is it supposed to be for? Right? Like, what's the actual like self-designated life purpose that you're planning on using this for? Right? Like me, I attain money because it's easy to, and because, right, again, if I until enough people decide to stop playing with this stupid system, like, you know, I am only one person. I can only do so much to, you know, I have to work within the confines of my environment, right? I get money because I know that it allows me to access things that I want, right? Like the beautiful things in my home. If you can't tell, my house is a treasure trove. I like to go treasure hunting. Call me Rouge the Bat. And because I know I like to obtain these beautiful things because they bring me such joy, and I appreciate admiring the work and the dedication that went into the crafting of these things that, again, were made by people. The money didn't do anything, the people did. I therefore seek to attain money because I know that, again, living in the confines of the society and the bullshit that we live in now, I need it, right? I don't need it because, again, principally, I like to move in a way where that's not the priority. So, like, I will do whatever I can to do what I want, have what I want, get what I want. That doesn't require money. Because, again, it's not the money that does anything for me. It's the experiences. It's the objects. It's the whatever I want to actually do or experience in a lifetime that requires money. No, it doesn't. Therefore, man, this thought process is really freaking jumbled up. Therefore, I attain money because I want to have these experiences, not because the money means anything to me. It means this is what I get as a means. This is what I need to obtain as a means of doing the things that I want. Because I do what I want, I get what I want. And if it happens to be like, okay, so for example, right, if we want to throw in the manifestation conversation, whatever. Whenever I want something, my first thought process is not, oh, I need to get XYZ amount of money to get it, right? I don't limit myself to thinking that the only way I can get something or do something is limited to my accessibility to money, because it isn't. My accessibility, my means of being able to attain something is not limited to money, but people who think like that will therefore will think that that's the only way that they can do the things that they want to do, and that's fine. Me personally, look, I have way too many experiences with too many people to think that money is the only way to attain things, when people want to give you for free sometimes. Some people just want to gift you something out of the kindness of their heart because they see how much you appreciate it, right? Like, for example, I saw TikTok a little while ago where a girl was talking about, I don't really remember what like the context of the TikTok was again, but it had something to do with, like, somebody made a comment and they were basically like, you know, I'll wear jewelry that I don't like anymore, so that way if somebody ever compliments her on it, that she can just gift it to them. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I love that idea. And I'm like, oh my God, I kind of want to do the same thing too, but also I don't get, like, okay, obviously I get hella compliments, right? Usually it's on my makeup or on the outfit, not specific pieces where I think that somebody, and not because I don't think it's possible, but it doesn't happen often enough where somebody comments on a very specific piece that I'm wearing, because again, I wear a lot of jewelry, I wear a lot of stuff, so it's like there's a lot of details to look at. I had this idea that I wanted to do before I had moved to Sacramento, when I was considering living in like a typical like apartment style complex, right? And my idea was I wanted to do like have a little table outside of my door with like a jewelry tree or something, and kind of like those like free little library things where like I wanted to do like a little table of some kind where I, you know, put items, whether it's clothes or jewelry or just like items that I no longer use or, you know, are just no longer what I want. And essentially kind of doing a similar, like the little like free library thing where it's like, you know, you can take what you want, you know, put anything here that you don't want that somebody else will appreciate, like kind of have like my own little like free library of goods and items that, you know, people can have, take, whatever. And then maybe I was thinking about doing like sort of like a tip jar sort of esque, right? Because I know sometimes some people don't necessarily, like some people like to still give some sort of form of gratuity for, you know, the service or whatever. And it's not because I want to, like, it's not because I care about making a profit off of the items, like that's not the point. But again, kind of going back to like, if they don't have a piece of jewelry that they want to trade and they still want to give something back as a sort of like, again, gratitude or exchange, barter, whatever, where at least that way they like, again, and it's person to person thing where it's like, oh, I still want to be able to give something back to you as gratitude for, you know, whatever. Then it's not transactional, it's just a purely gifted experience, right? Which is like, I think we need to shift from transactional to like gifting, right? Like you're doing something because you want to do it, not because you expect something in return, right? Shopping, right? Like, yes, it's all transactional, literally, where it's like, yeah, I'm giving you this money because I want this thing, instead of like, okay, I have this, like, you know, it would be so, okay, this would be a cute little idea that maybe I'll do, right? Where I have some kind of like a store, right? And it doesn't have to be like brick and mortar. It could just be, again, like in front of wherever the hell I live or wherever I want to go. And I basically have like a pop-up shop equivalent where it's basically a yard sale, if you think about it. But like, I would love to like curate a bunch of stuff together. Again, whether it's stuff that I just no longer use anymore, or it's just items that I thought were really beautiful and people, you know, again, like, I don't know, call me a stylist or something, right? Where, you know, I'm aware that people really like my style. People really like the pieces that I have. And it would be really cool to be able to curate, you know, essentially a library of my personal taste and curation of clothes, decor, jewelry, etc., where, you know, you're essentially coming to me in awareness of what my style is and the things that I like that you also happen to like. And you're like, okay, if I really like Celeste's style, let me go see what kind of she's got going on, because she's always pulling together the best fits, like just really good items, you know. And it's like, that sounds like a really nice community service that I think would be so fun, and a really good way to like make connections with people too, and like, you know, collaborate with like your styles and stuff and inspire each other. Like, I can't remember if I was saying it in what will I think eventually be, right, a past video or something, where I want to start my next shoot, but I gotta poo in a second. Where I was at Ego Thrift and I was finishing up at the jewelry section and was chatting with, you know, one of the workers there, and she was, you know, saying how she loves every time I come in there and she loves my energy, my style, and then, you know, she's like, oh, I just had to like steal some of like your style, like, you know, you're inspiring. And I was just like, oh, like, I love that. I think that that's so cool. Like, I don't really personally believe in the whole idea that like copying somebody is like a bad thing, unless what you're copying is just, you know, you're trying to freaking destiny swap, which is like lame. You can't get your own life, lame. You can't get your own personality, lame. Like, there's a difference between like stealing and culturally appropriating somebody's style versus being inspired by it. Ooh, ooh. That's my cue to go. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. Like 30 to 45 minutes later. I'm telling you, man, that tea be doing its job. So yeah, we finished one sandal already. We're gonna finish the rest of this one, and then I think I'm gonna also start on this other pair. Maybe. Yeah, like a little personal boutique. Yeah, I think that'd be so fun, because like every time I go thrifting, I always find stuff that I really like, but like might not be my style, but like I could see somebody else wearing. And that's why I'm like, oh, I feel like doing like a little like, you know, sort of boutique-esque thing would be kind of fun. Because again, like, if people like my style and they like the things that I have an eye for, then I don't see why I can't, you know, provide a means of being able to provide the space or the resources to find things that, again, other people have, you know, told me they're inspired by, or that they really like my style and they really like the pieces that I find. Because, you know, some people have an eye for it and others don't, and that's fine. But it's like when you find somebody who does have, you know, an eye for the things that you also like or that you want to curate for yourself, then it's like, yeah, let me go ahead and outsource my sarong inventory from Celeste, because she has like a gajillion of them and she's always picking up like the cutest ones, because I do. And yeah, like it's like the same thing as when you go to like a nail artist, right? Like obviously they have a style of their work that people like and pay for, right? But now I'm just talking about clothes and home decor, right? Like I'm not talking about anything that original. But I think that would be kind of a fun idea. Maybe I'll do like a Depop or something like that. Something along those lines, give or take. But I like the idea of doing it in person instead, because again, like I like being able to interact with the people who admire the things about me that they do. One, because then I can make a connection with the person. You know, when I go shopping, I like to see the stuff in person. Like I am starting to, like, not that I don't online shop, but it's really rare when I do anymore. As somebody who, like, I used to online shop all the time, and now I quite frankly avoid it if I can. And I honestly just avoid it unless it's like an item that I know I just have yet to find a place to source it in person. Because again, like me personally, I honestly enjoy the process of going out and like buying things, because then again, I get to actually see the product, I get to feel the product, I get to, you know, feel the energy of an item, whatever. Like, does it really make sense to go and buy incense online, assuming that you don't know what like they smell like? Like, sure, you could, like, okay, for example, right, like, I like the smell of, like, a jasmine perfume, or jasmine in a perfume, right? Or is it iris? No, yeah, jasmine. I like the smell of it, but I'm not, like, the biggest fan of it in an incense. You know, like, just because it smells like this across the board for XYZ other thing does not mean it's going to smell necessarily the same somewhere else. And I don't get to have that experience of knowing what, you know, the incense actually smells like if I'm just buying it online and just hoping that it's good or that it smells in a way that I like. And it's like, I'm not really, like, look, I'm a risk taker, but I'm not so much of a risk taker that I am going to not consider variables that I think are important when making purchases, right? Enough to just willy-nilly be throwing my money out and around like it's got nowhere to be, but you know, whatever. Some things, yes, absolutely, I can very much make impulsive purchases. Don't get me wrong, bro. The temperance that I am always grappling with myself. Look, I got an Aries Venus. Trust me, I know impulse. I got a Aries Mercury. Trust me, sometimes I don't know when to shut the hell up. I got a Aries Saturn. I feel like that Aries Saturn is low-key the only thing keeping a leash on that Aries Venus and that Mercury, where it, like, you know, and it's like I'm sitting here thinking, like, you know what, I'm glad I have an Aries Saturn, because then that Saturn placement is able to be quick enough to catch the other two. Like, it's kind of giving like two badass kids and a parent, and that parent is like not here to tell them kids what to do, right? Like, you know, ultimately, you know, have fun, enjoy yourself, do what you want to do with your life. But like, sometimes you just need to grab them kids by their collar and tell them to sit their ass down. And sometimes that Saturn's got to be quick with it though. Like, could you imagine if I had like a Taurus Saturn trying to deal with that? Like, I feel like I'd take too long. But I do have a Taurus Mars. So it's like, that I feel like also kind of throws in a little bit of like, take your time with it though. Like, yes, you're impulsive, baby girl, but take your time before you take action, because sometimes you just need to wait a little bit longer to get the things that you want for possibly a way better deal, which honestly is always, like, I think people really got to start getting into like enjoying or the art of delayed gratification, because when I tell you that shit is so great in more ways than one. Okay, so for example, this is like probably one of my favorite examples. So when I was in high school for like 2 years straight, back when Uggs were like still a thing, before they, you know, changed their products or whatever. Not anymore. I really wanted this very specific pair of Uggs for like 2 years straight. Like I thought about these things all the time, right? So then I get into the military, and after BMT, basic training, there's like a little window of time where you're kind of in like a limbo of like them trying to get you ready to go to your first duty station to do your training. And you're like Airman's Week, you know, family, graduation, all of that. There was a time period where we got to like go to the BX, which is basically just like on base Walmart, essentially. And we finally got to go there, right? So like we finally, like, you know, all the money we had been earning at that time during basic training, like we finally get to do something with it, right? Tell me why I go to the BX, and I had like nothing in mind that I wanted to buy necessarily, but I go to the BX and I go to the shoe section. I don't remember why, but I was just like, let's just see, right? Tell me why I find the exact Uggs that I had been longing for, yearning for 2 years plus straight, in the color I wanted, in my size, and they were the last pair. And they only cost half of the price. Like I think they were like originally like 160 or something like that, and they were only like $80. And mind you, like sales back then were, you know, obviously different than they are now. But like for Uggs to be on that big of a sale, like to be like at that time, it was like, whoa. Like if you weren't paying full price for Uggs, you rarely found the things on sale, in my experience, right? So the fact that I found the exact shoes that I was looking for, that I wanted for like 2 something plus years, for half of the price. Now that's some good delayed gratification. Mind you, I only wore those things like one time, and then I got hair dye on them. So then I really didn't wear them. Yeah, I wore them all of one time. I held on to them, I think, for like at least 2 years, because I really wanted to like, and now if I had them, oh, I'd totally wear them. Like, but again, I think it just like wasn't my style. Like it wasn't as much my style as, you know, it just wasn't my style at the time anymore. Like I just was not a girl who wanted Uggs, so therefore I didn't have like a personal reason to want to wear them. And I lived in San Antonio, Texas. Like I don't need to wear Uggs in Texas. So again, it just logistically, it made no sense for me to own these shoes, but I still bought them. And then even for like other things, I'm trying to think. I've had other instances where like waiting for something, whether it be intentional or just like the first time around where I realized I wanted something and I had the opportunity to get it, it was just like, you know, I would reason, I'm like, okay, well, maybe at a later time. Like it just like didn't make sense, or it was just kind of like, I'm willing to wait around for a sale. Okay, actually I have another example. So another pair of shoes, actually, funny enough. It was this pair of Buffalo sneakers, like the brand Buffalo, and I really liked the style, the like really huge chunky sneaker style that they had. There was this one pair, it was specifically, I can't remember what the model type was, but they were like the chunky sneaker, and then it was like ombre black in the back, white in the front. Super cool looking. And they were, again, I think they were like another like, you know, $150+ shoes, and they were on ASOS at the time. And I was like they were in my cart for like the longest time. I was like, I'm just gonna wait, I'm just gonna like, you know, see if they go on sale. And for sure, lo and behold, eventually, again, I got the last one in my size for only $55. But it just like happened to be like a random day that I was then all of a sudden looking for like sneakers or something. Like there wasn't really any reason for me to necessarily like need to buy them, but it just like, again, it just made sense at the time. And I'm like, oh, this is literally the last pair, again, in my size for 66% off. So only like $55. So I'm like, so I have to get them. Right. And I did. And I actually did wear the hell out of the, like I wore the hell out of the shoes so much that like the soles started, dry rotting. And I'm talking like I would wear those things almost every single day. And they went with my style. So like, again, it made more sense for me to buy these. Yeah, that was another instance too. And this is me just trying to prove my point, y'all, that sometimes it's really worth waiting for something, right? This is where I'm glad I have a Taurus Mars, because that patience really gives a big payoff, I'm telling you. So when I was looking for this apartment, when I was looking to move from my last spot, I was renting out a room in a nice big home in like Brentwood area. The owner of the home, he just needed to sell the house. So, we got our notice like, hey, you got like 2-something months to move out. Cool, whatever. So I'm looking for apartments. I'm kind of getting a general idea. Like I knew I wanted to move to Sacramento for sure. For sure I wanted to move to Sacramento. And I really wanted to live downtown because I've never lived in a city before. And I'm like, that just sounds like it would be a really fun experience to have as, I don't know, someone in their 20s, I guess, to see what it's like to be a city girl. Literally, So I was looking for, I had a specific place I wanted to live, like Midtown area. Cause like, this just popping over here. Like there's just people that are my age that live here or frequent the area. And I wanted to be around a general demographic of, again, people within my age range, or that would just be the kinds of people I want to make connections with for whatever, personal motives and shit, right? And as I'm looking for places, each one I'm super excited about, right? I had like set my, my budget limit, blah, 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 doing all the, figuring out what kinds of things I want in the place or what kinds of accessibility, all of that, right? And this place, I think, was like the fourth or fifth of all the places that I was looking at. And mind you, all of the other ones like completely fell through. So like one of the apartments that I was trying to go to, pretty sure they're just scamming people because they didn't even, did the application fee. They didn't even so much as notify me that my application had been like denied or that they weren't going to be accepting me. Like I had to keep emailing these people to get a response. And I'm like, hey, like, what's the update on this? Like my application's been in for like longer than it takes for y'all to need, to need to respond. And mind you, I'd already like looked at the place and everything too. And again, like, mind you, like I lived in Brentwood, so like I wanted to obviously see the places. And that drive is like an hour and a half. And it's like, if I'm going to go all the way up here, like I'm trying to, arrange showings, so I can make the best out of my time if I'm not like spending the night at like a friend's house or something. Cause again, like, not that like an hour and a half is a long drive, but 3 to 4 hours driving in a day just to go look at apartments, like that's a lot of time to be spending not having fun with my life and to just be driving. So, again, I'm trying to be reasonable with the time I'm spending here. I emailed them. I'm like, hey, yo, like, so what's the update? Like, what's going on? And they're basically like, oh, we decided to go with somebody else. So you didn't even have the professionalism to let me know that. I had to ask you to then find out that you rejected like that. And mind you, right, like when you apply for an apartment, you're first in line for consideration. So there's really no reason why, one, I wasn't notified that my application wasn't accepted, but two, that they accepted somebody else's before even denying mine, so they could then have that position, that spot in line, if you will, right? So I was kind of bitter. I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. But anyway, each place that I keep looking at was better than the last, right? Whether it was cheaper, better amenities, what have you, right? And this one was like literally the cherry on top, where it was, mind you, I wanted to be specifically very close to a particular place, because I wanted to be able to like walk to the places that I want to go to. And that's kind of like my main thing with like why I wanted to live in the city, because I wanted to be able to, one, walk my dog, because I was getting really tired of just walking around suburban areas, like looking at houses that look the same. After a while, it gets pretty freaking boring. Again, so living in the city accessibility was super important to me. And I also, like, I'm just not interested in breaking the bank over a place to live. That's ridiculous, right? I already think that the cost of living is, again, money's all stupid. You already built the house. You already have the water running. What do I need to pay for if it already does what it needs to do? You know, each place that I found was, again, like cheaper than the one before, way more square footage than before, right? And it's crazy because, mind you, I was not expecting to get as good of a place as not because I don't think that I wouldn't get obviously the best of the best, because I only accept the best of the best. With that, right, like I don't have a tolerance for accepting anything less than what I want. And the universe was like, right, exactly. So you need to be patient and just let me keep showing you options until, you know, the one that you're meant to be in shows up, right? And with every like new option that I was either getting rejected from, or like things just didn't like follow or line up the way they needed to for, you know, paperwork, this and that, you know, I still ended up taking away inspiration for, you know, new amenities or things that I wanted to then consider looking for in the next spot. And like, for example, one of those big things was I want a fenced in backyard. I want to be able to like let my dog out and her to be able to just free roam. Can't really do that in an apartment. I wanted to have hard floors, no carpet. I hate carpet. All tile floor, baby, throughout. A good amount of square footage. This place, 650 square foot. Mind you, the places I was looking at before, as expected, were, you know, 300, 400, 500 square foot for like almost $2,000. I'm like, okay, so highway robbery, got it. So the fact that I got this place for like 13, 1400 for 650 square foot downtown in the area that I'm in is like pretty unheard of, you know? And again, we're just talking about like this economy, right? It was just kind of cool to see like this play out in real time, because the exact same thing happened too when I was looking for the last place that I was living, right? And that was when I was moving from Colorado to California. So like all the more like kind of hectic and bigger planning, because I had to, you know, plan the road trip. You know, each place that I was looking at, again, like they either fell through or, you know, I wanted to be able to see the place, but it's like I couldn't see the place until I showed up. Because, you know, sometimes the pictures just don't do the place justice, or they make it look way better than it actually is. Like there was, okay, for example, there was one apartment I was looking at in this area that was in a really nice area. Like I liked it. It was over by like Q and 16th where that park is. I can't remember. I think it's like, I don't know if it's Fremont Park. It's a park. If you live in Sac, you know what I'm talking about. There's like the big orange flowers that are in the park right now, right? It was in that area. And it was just like one of, you know, renting an area of a home, if you will, right? So still completely like for, like, I really didn't want no roommates. I wanted a whole place to myself. I wanted to be able to walk around my place naked. The pictures, hella deceiving. First of all, really great lighting. Absolutely. I cannot stand places that don't list the square footage. Stop doing that. It's fucking rude. It's so rude. And then they use pictures to like make it seem like it's way bigger than it is. When I showed up to this place, mind you, it was a very nice, well put together place. Like updated stuff, appliances, floor, all of that, right? It was generally nice. When I tell you these pictures definitely were very misleading when it comes to like the size. When I walked into that apartment, I almost said something out loud, but I was not trying to be rude, right? But I was just like I was like, how much square footage is this? And she's like, oh, it's like 350. And you want how much for that? I think it was like 15 or 1600. And I'm like, for 350? Like when I tell you, you walk in and it was basically you walking straight into the kitchen. Because again, it's a studio. Quite frankly, a bedroom. I don't even call that a studio. But you walk in and it's just like, you know, a big square room. The kitchen is like a half a square. And then the bathroom. And like that was it. Like it was so unbelievably small. I could not believe how small this place was. Like the pictures, like they clearly did a good job on those pictures, because I would not have. And mind you, with this place too, I was genuinely considering like, oh, maybe I could just like get it without looking at it, which again, that particular place reinforced for me, like, nah, it is really important to go look at the place that you're looking to apply at, for real. Like, don't ever rent a place that you don't go and see. And I'm glad I learned that lesson before I had to learn it the hard way, because you really don't like realize how small the space is until you like are actually in the space. Oh my god, I for real could not believe how small this place was. Again, glad I went to see it. Again, super cute, like part of the like the neighborhood, don't get me wrong, like definitely super accessible, right around a bunch of restaurants and stuff. Like absolutely an ideal like little spot to live like in or at or whatever, but not for that much with that little. And again, mind you, I am just one person, but you know, even as one person, I want some room. Like, yeah, no, it was crazy. I couldn't believe how freaking expensive it was. Okay, we're done with this foot. Okay, we're done with both feet. I actually might not even add any more to it. I kind of like it as it is. But yeah, when you're looking for an apartment, y'all, you need to go see it in person and actually get a feel for what you're getting yourself into. Otherwise, you're definitely going to be pretty freaking disappointed when you're paying XYZ amount of money every month for not a lot. But again, delayed gratification, y'all, so worth it. And I would even say the same thing with like shopping and thrifting, right? Like I don't ever like, especially because I do so much shopping, it's really also, in my opinion, if people pay attention to it, the perfect opportunity to really learn about market research in whatever area it is that you're focusing on. In my case, it's thrifting, right? If I know that I can get, you know, vintage Chinese vases for $3 to $4 on average at this type of store or location or blah, 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 then why would I go somewhere else and pay 10 times that? Like there's a Goodwill that's like near here, and it's a little more of a curated Goodwill, so it's definitely not prices that quite frankly they should be listing their stuff for. Don't get me like hella overpriced. They do have a couple good pieces here and there, but they never have anything on sale. I don't really get the point. But I was looking at a vase actually yesterday that was, and it came, so it was like, again, like a Chinese style vase, like, hold on. I think I actually have an example of one. Okay, so it was kind of, it was like this style, right? Way bigger, it was black, right? So this style with like, you know, the beautiful like gold and details and whatever, right? You know, big beautiful vase with a cute little stand that it came with too. $20. Now what makes you think I'm gonna pay $20 for this? When I know, and I've consistently been able to find damn near identical items for $5 or less. Exactly, so put it back. Put it back. All right, these are the finished shoes. Get the cute little seashells on the back. What a cute little idea. All right, ladies and guys, whoever. Let's start bedazzling some shit, all right? Let's stop hating on the guys who want to wear bedazzle. Just let them wear whatever they want to wear, man. Like, it just sounds like you're mad that somebody else wants to express themselves and you don't know how to do it for yourself. So that's where I think I'll leave. Oh, I kind of want to do the other shoes too. I'm still gonna do these ones anyway, but like I kind of want to bedazzle them and then take them on a walk. But I should like, let me not bedazzle these yet, because I'm gonna wear these to take my dog on a walk, and then I'll bedazzle them later. So I'll just stop the video here then. But yeah, that was today's topics, you guys. What do you think? What do you think about the economic state of the world? What's your position on this make-believe system that you're also participating in? And what are you doing to change your personal navigation and approach to changing the system within yourself to create one that leads to a future where we don't do this tomfoolery, right? I'm always trying to think of ideas and ways to do things that don't involve money, because again, like I don't believe in that system for myself principally, but I believe in its existence for the sake of the awareness of, again, the video game I gotta live in, you know. That's like I don't know why I keep thinking of Breath of the Wild. I've literally never played the game, but just in concept, right? It's like, imagine Link needing to obtain food from, I don't know, a village or something, and that village requires and has a system of exchange that requires rupees, and if he doesn't, like, just because he doesn't believe in it doesn't mean that these people don't. So it's like, again, you have to work within relatively the confines of the environment you're kind of working with, not because you can't make changes yourself, right? Not because you can't hunt your own food, not because you can't find a different way to get food that doesn't require you to have rupees to go get it. This is just one of the many ways in which you can attain food, but you can still do things where you don't need to do all that and live by that self-designation on principle, and potentially, maybe, hopefully influence enough people to also realize, you know what, yeah, this system is really stupid. Let's stop doing it. What the fuck are you gonna do? There's more of us than there are of them. Anyway, so yeah, guys, start bedazzling your stuff. Have fun. Stop making your life purpose about money and about what you want to attain, because money is not a purpose. It's imagination. You're seeking permission to do things that don't necessarily require money to be the permission that grants you access to those things. Let's get a little more fucking creative in the head, please. Let's use our head, right? We don't have a brain and a spirit for no reason to not use it. Please. Gain a grasp. Strengthen your grasp on your ability to use your head, use your mind, use your spirit to come up with ideas and new innovative ways to change the system that don't require participating in the same system you don't want to participate in and you want to deconstruct. That doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. If we want a new system, we have to stop trying to participate in the old one. Hello? That's like, okay, let's say you're trying to mix colors and you're trying to, and you don't necessarily have an understanding and knowledge of how color mixing works to get certain colors, right? And let's say you're trying to get purple and you use blue and yellow. And now you're trying to turn it purple. It's probably not going to be purple even once you put the red in there. It's going to be gray and yucky, right? So instead of trying to still work with your green color to try and make purple, start fresh. Now that you know it's red and blue that make purple, start fresh. Stop trying to add in colors. Stop trying to add in shit and stop trying to work with what already clearly is not going to get you the result that you want. Start fresh. Now that you know that it's red and blue to make purple. Same logic applies to the system. If you don't want to participate in this system, stop participating in it. Stop trying to change it. If from the get-go, from the foundation, if the foundation that is built for this house is not the foundation that you want for the structure that you want to put on top of it, stop trying to build a house on top of a foundation that you don't like. I don't know, this feels like it should be obvious. It feels like it should be obvious, but that's okay. We're all learning. But again, at the end of the day, I think that it's really important to recognize when you're still participating in the system, even though, yes, your desire is to try and create or conjure a system that is not with these nerds, these loser, insecure PDF file nerds being the designation of what we can and can't do, then stop acting like they have power over you. Stop believing that shit. They literally can't do anything to you that you, like, they don't have power over you if you don't believe it. You don't have to participate in a system that you don't like if you don't want to, so don't. Start new, start fresh. Stop acting like we need to ask these losers for permission to do stuff. That's, I don't want to say y'all. It's all of our problem. It's all of our problem because it's a collective thing. It has to be all of us or it won't be any of us. And when we keep picking them over ourselves, and we're sitting here surprised that we're still being indoctrinated and that we're still being colonized and that we're still being abused, stop asking for your abuser to stop abusing you. They made the choice to do it from the get-go. Man, this just got really dark. But they chose to do it from the get-go. They continue to show you that they have no problem doing it. Why would you ask somebody who's already demonstrated to you that their character, their principles, their morality is not only misaligned with what you want for yourself, but also is intentionally structured in a way to put you at a disadvantage and to be abused? Right.
So that means we need to outsource a different means of help instead of asking the person who wants to subjugate you to help you. Please get up, use your freaking head, stop asking your abuser to stop abusing me. Can you please stop colonizing us? They either need to be dealt with, or we need to remove ourselves or shun them, and or all the above. Whatever, doesn't matter. But we need to stop. Honestly, I really think that we need to stop even wasting our time with, oh, you guys need to vote, you need to vote. Not in this system. Maybe in something fresh that we created, that we the people created, not them. I don't think that the concept of voting itself is bad, right? Sure, majority rule for whatever group project, whatever, right? Fine. But why, again, stop participating in a system you don't like. If you don't want to, they're gonna do whatever they want anyway. Whether you vote or not, it doesn't matter. They're gonna manipulate it to freak you guys out and tell you that, the vote was whatever, it was a miscount. It doesn't even matter what, they're gonna just do whatever they want at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it's left, right, it's still the same bird. It's still the same bird. It's still the same fake ass bird that they put another bird's voice over, a brown bird's voice over, to make it seem like it's more scary and intimidating. How are you going to use a red-tailed hawk as the voice of an animal that clearly does not sound like that? When have you ever heard an eagle sound like? Never, because it's not. If that is not like the perfect depiction of like the irony of like whitewashing, colonization, stealing of another, in this case, species. Well, I guess birds. I don't know the naming convention for if it's a species, but whatever, right? Different, like, you literally gentrified. I don't know if that's the right word I want to use. You literally stole the voice of a bird that clearly has got it like you don't, and you took it and made it seem like you're the one that did that, babe. Come on, you guys, let's see the patterns. They're pretty obvious if you just pay attention. If you just pay attention. Just pay attention, please. Please. But enjoy your life at the same time, right? Life does not need to be miserable. Life does not need to suck if you don't want it to. My life is fucking perfect and amazing, even in contrast with all the bullshit that's going on. But I also just ignore it because it doesn't apply to me, because I don't believe it does. And I'm not going to let it apply to me to the greatest capacity in which I cannot let it apply to me, Because again, I'm only one out of billions of people. I can only do what it is that I can do. But if we can come together and recognize the issue and recognize that by participating in the problem, we're not helping ourselves. Stop participating in a system that you don't like. And that goes for your own mental processes too. Not even the greater whole of all this bullshit either. This goes for you too, right? If you don't want to be insecure, stop participating in being insecure. Stop reinforcing your insecurities. If you don't want to be anxious, stop participating in being anxious. Be present. Stop living in the future when the future never comes. Life is right now, here, now. It's not then. Or it's not. Wait. I guess that's the same thing. It's not back then. It's not to be then. It's now. The time is now. The time is now. Man, that got super political. But, I mean, hey, look, like, this is the world we live in. This is the world I live in. And it's my life. And I'm gonna live it how I want to. And I think that you should too. Stop living your life as though you have to live by anybody else's rules, because you don't. And the second you hear a rebuttal in your head and you're like, oh, but stop. That's a choice. A habitual choice perhaps, but that is a choice. The second you start talking about but blah blah. Okay, so you don't want to think for yourself. Okay, so you want somebody else to tell you what to do. Okay, so that's all that says, is that, okay, tell me you don't believe you have autonomy without telling me you don't have autonomy, babe. You do. You just don't believe you do. All right, so let's start acting and moving like we do, because you do. So stop with this but the powers that be. You're the only one that believes in it. These people are only powerful because y'all believe it. These are the weakest losers I've ever seen in my life. Like, they're so desperate. What do you need all that money? What do you need all of that make-believe accessibility for? What do you need $1 trillion for? What do you need all of that for? It's not even real. They're hoarding nothing, and yet we're so convinced that their huge hoarding of make-believe thing, money, make-believeness, somehow has power over it? Come on, you guys, please. Does that not sound kind of fucking stupid that we're sitting here thinking, oh my god, these people have so much power because they have all of this money? Money's not real, so they have literally nothing over you except your mind. Your mind is the only thing that they are holding hostage over you. Your mind is the only thing holding you hostage under the guise that it has anything to do with them. They're nothing but a bunch of fucking freaks. Alright? They're nothing but come on. Come on, you guys. For real. We're better than this. We're better than this. We're smarter than this. Give yourself the credit that is actually due. You are autonomous. You can think for yourself. You don't need something else to govern you when you have the ability to govern yourself. And that's where I think I'll end this crazy little vlog. Thanks for customizing. Thank you for joining me while I customize my cute little... Oh my god, these are so freaking cute. These are so freaking cute. Are you kidding me? Oh, the bedazzle. Like, these were already so cute before. But now these are like, come on. But yeah. Thanks for witnessing me today. Tell me what you think in the comments, because I'd love to see what y'all are talking about. I don't care if you agree with me. I don't really care about your opinion. Not because I don't like to hear what y'all have to say, but I'm not going to internalize what y'all think, right? But I still like to hear what you guys have to say. If you have anything to say, please think for yourself. Use your autonomy. No one ever took it from you. They just convinced you that you never had permission to use it. Okay? So, yeah, as always, remember to go outside, touch some grass, rain, yes, class, yes, and shake some ass.